All right. Hello and welcome. Jay Fiset here from JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. And I am absolutely thrilled to share with you today a couple of core, powerful ideas that can transform the distribution and the reach of the course that you are creating or that you have already created. And what we do at JVology is fundamentally we help entrepreneurs to redesign their businesses so they can get a steady stream of perfectly qualified leads at the front end of their business and a consistent recurring income at the back end of their business, making one fundamental truth real is that serving their clients better by solving more of their problems, and to do so through win-win-win joint ventures. So today, in a short span of time, I'm going to teach you our proprietary upstream downstream model. And when that lands for you, honest to goodness, it will transform how you think about joint ventures and how you build your business forever. Honest to goodness, forever. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of a higher level training, which is something that we take from a course and a program of ours called InStream. And it's a way to first and foremost, do a little bit of homework on the partners that we are looking for to ensure that we are perfectly lined up in what we have come to call the problem solution model. So on that note, my friends, here's what I'm going to suggest. Be prepared to take notes, be prepared to listen fast. I talk quickly, and be prepared to think differently about lead acquisition and recurring income. So I'm going to share my screen. And as we do so, what I want you to understand is this. We are going to be looking at something that we call your JV Top 20. Your JV Top 20 fundamentally will, if you do it well, will add a zero to your bottom line, meaning that if you made $10,000 last year, you could make $100,000 this year, bottom line. If you made $100,000 last year, bottom line, you could make $1 million this year, bottom line. Please hear, that is not marketing hyperbole. That is the real results that people in our community, and by the way, that I have created utilizing this process. So first and foremost, there's you and your business. And the truth of the matter is that most of the time we are very busy looking for, hey, who needs the thing that we have? Who needs our widget? Who needs our course? Who needs this problem solved? And we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to find the right person, our ideal client, at the right time when they acknowledge and recognize they have the problem that we solve, with the right message. And most of us do so with blinders. Hey, do you have the problem I solved? Do you have the problem I solved? Oh, you totally have the problem I solved, but damn, you don't think that you do. Not so much fun. So this next line, the blue line that you see, is your ideal client's life journey. Now, please understand, it is their entire life journey. And the blue dot is where you intersect with their life journey. It is the point in time in which you are relevant to them. They have the problem that you solve. You have the product, service, or experience that they want. It is that moment in time. But the thing that I want you to understand is this. Most entrepreneurs are very focused on this intersection. And I'm going to suggest to you that if you want to really transform your business, that instead of just being very focused on this, intersection, what you do is you take like 2 or 3 monster steps backwards, and you begin to pay more attention to the overall life journey of your ideal client. Because when we do, we can do something that's pretty spectacular. What we're going to do is we're going to start looking what we call upstream. And by the way, to make perfect sense of this, just think if you walked up to a river, upstream is where the water is flowing towards you. Downstream is where the water is flowing away from you. Okay. So upstream and before, because here's the truth of the matter right this very second. Depending upon your industry, depending upon your niche, depending upon your particular angle, right this very second, and I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment while I go through this example. Right this very second, there are hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of people who are right now are in the middle of discovering that they have the problem that you solve. They might be right in the middle of actually creating the problem that you solve. Okay? Or they may have just been diagnosed by a coach, by a doctor, by a friend, by a family member, that they have the problem that you solve. So here's the reality of this. If we simply stopped with the blinders and we took a couple of steps back and we went, wait a second, there are actually people, organizations, coaching schools, universities, trade associations, car clubs, real estate agents, real estate agencies, travel agencies. There's all of these places that are, please hear this, day in, day out, minute by minute, hour by hour, week by week. They are, please hear this, causing the problem that you solve. They are diagnosing the problem that you solve, or they are revealing the problem that you solve. So what if instead of trying to sell one thing at a time, it's like, hey, have you got the problem that I solve? Can I sell it to you? What if we just went to those organizations, those people, and said, hey, you actually cause, create, reveal, diagnose the problem that I solve. Why don't we do this? Why don't we cut a deal? Why don't we work together? Why don't we collaborate? Why don't we become joint venture partners? Okay, now just to be clear about it, that's the upstream. Those are the folks that are creating, revealing, diagnosing the problem that you solve. Now, I want to get back to the little PowerPoint here for a brief moment, because here's the truth of the matter. Not only are there upstream partners, but there's also downstream partners, because every single time you serve a client, every single time you solve a problem for your client, they say that on average, we create 4 to 7 new problems with every problem that we solve. Now, if you just think about this, sometimes people get, all up in arms. Those are problems. It's like problem, opportunity, however you want to think about it. Let's be perfectly clear about this. If somebody buys a new car, they now have a problem, which is they need to get it registered and insured. If somebody buys a new house, they need to get from the house that they currently live in to the new house. And they, again, are going to have to do all sorts of things like probably a little bit of repairs, probably a little bit of painting, probably a couple of things to make that house their own, probably new insurance, probably new, you understand. So every single time there's a solution, it gives birth to a multitude of new problems. That, my friends, when you think about your business and think about this very seriously, when I provide my solution and people are thrilled with it, what new problems do I create? So here's a very simple example. A dear friend of mine is teaching crypto classes. Some of the people have been doing stunningly well. When they are doing stunningly well, they now have a new problem, which is financial management, taxes, liquidation, all of those pieces, estate planning. So he has now built his downstream of a bunch of financial advisors, a bunch of insurance agents, a bunch of offshore folks. There's a whole variety of things that he is doing to serve his clients with their next step after they make a great amount of cash in crypto. I trust that makes sense to you. Okay. Now, here's how this works in the simplest terms. We go to the people that are the people, the organizations, the structures, the authors, the educators, the communities, the associations, the clubs, the manufacturers, the whatever it happens to be. And we say, hey, I noticed that you do this part of the business, you do it particularly well. And I noticed that everybody who actually buys your product, service, or experience now has a new concern, now has a new issue, now has something that they have to solve. And by the way, that is exactly what I do. So if you send those clients to me, that's what this little blue line is here. You send those clients to me and I sell them, then I will send the green arrow represents money. Then I will send you money back. Now, please understand this. And I think that it's already clear to you that when you do this well, here's what occurs. You have solved all of your lead generation problems. And not just lead generation, you have created a steady stream of perfectly qualified leads. These are people that, number one, know that they have the problem that you solve. They also have been highly recommended by somebody who has already delivered a great product, service, and experience to them, and you have a high level of trust. Truthfully, if you just don't piss them off and you serve them well, you have a client. It's spectacular, absolutely spectacular. Now, let's get back to the drawing here, and I want you to be able to see it. Oh, that is the front end of your business. That is you having a steady stream of perfectly qualified leads. And just think about that for a moment. Like, how great would that be if there was quite literally a steady stream of people coming and checking out your course, a steady stream of people coming from your course into your coaching program, a steady stream of people who are coming to the site to learn more about what's going on? What if that was just built in and embedded? That's great. Solid. If you do a good job there, frankly, you are ahead of most entrepreneurs. But it's still incomplete when we consider this whole JV model. Because now you've got to understand that if you do your job well, you are again creating 4 to 7 additional problems. And if you ask the question, what do my clients need next? What is it that they're already Googling? What is it they've been asking me about? And we simply say, I know what they need next. And we create a little roster of people that we have, number one, great trust in. Number 2, deliver phenomenal products. Number 3, we have an agreement in place to be rewarded for our referrals. And what we do is when somebody says, hey, my next step is You know what? Financial management. My next step is buying a fantastic CRM. My next step is developing a course. My next step is, you insert the blanks, you know exactly who you're going to refer them to. And when you do so and they convert them, then they send you money. That is how you get steady stream of perfectly qualified leads at the front of your business, recurring passive income at the back end of your business. And you then are in the spot of what we call the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit, because you've done one thing and you've done it spectacularly well. And I want you to understand this. This is huge. You have gone from being a service provider, which is, hey, I've got this problem, you fix it, I carry on in my life. If you shift from being a service provider to being what we call a trusted advisor, everything is different in your life, in your world, and in your business. The truth of the matter is this: a trusted advisor, their clients come back over and over and over again. A trusted advisor is asked for references and referrals over and over and over again. A trusted advisor begins to make often as much money from their downstream partners, from their referral relationships, from the other ways in which they solve their existing clients' problems, sometimes make as much money, sometimes even more money, by not actually delivering the product or service, but simply building great relationships and sending the right people to the right solution. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit. And as we dig into this, I want you to know that there are some handouts and you can actually fill them in along the way. We'll play with them. I'll give you a couple of examples as we're going along, but let's get back to the key image here. So what I want to do is this: I want to give you a bunch of examples of upstream partners for us at JVology, because this is all well and fine in a theoretical sense. But the truth of the matter is that this really gets interesting. This really gets powerful when you can actually see it in action. So I'm going to go through just a handful of the upstream partners that we have at JVology. And I want you to be clear about this. I'm going to use it in two different ways, and I'll talk about it in a moment. So the first on my list is course creators. Now, I want to be clear about this as course creators. The more specific on this list, the better. But sometimes when we're first starting, it's like, we've got to start at categories. So I use, like this, course creators. Now, quite obviously, my dear friends, Carrie and LaShawn, they are brilliant course creators. I refer to them all the time. They have spoken on my stage at JVology. They do a spectacular job. But just to be clear about this, they're not the only course creators on planet Earth. And the truth is, virtually anyone who helps somebody to build a course, to do something well, to take their intellectual property and their experience into a product, service, and experience, those kinds of course creators, all of them are ideal upstream partners. Because as soon as the course is done, then the person who built the course is like, great, I just need more people to see it. I trust that makes sense. Here's another example of that. A dear friend of mine, Alina Vincent, she teaches people how to run 5-day Facebook challenges, and she does a spectacular job. But let's be clear about this. What happens is she takes them through their training. They build their 5-day challenge. They've got their content. They've got their offer. They've got everything. It's all done. And they say, what I'd like is I'd like more people to know about my 5-day challenge. How am I going to do that? And she says, well, go see Jay and join the JVology community. Make sure you attend JVology Live, where there's going to be a couple of hundred people you can talk to about not only participating in your challenge, but sharing it with their tribes too. So it's a huge leverage piece. And again, we step in and solve exactly the problem that they say that they have when they have it. Thinkific is a brilliant one. I've done a couple of trainings like this that have been embedded in some of the Thinkific training. And Thinkific is a tremendous example because they host courses. And notice how course creators and host coursing fits quite beautifully together. Makes perfect sense. In addition to that, ClickFunnels, they have spoken on my stage. I have sponsored some of their events, and they do a tremendous job in terms of helping people get sites built, helping people get opt-ins done, helping people put together their offer. They do a spectacular job about that. And then as soon as somebody's done, it's like, ooh, I need more traffic. I would like to have some partners that could send some traffic. And they say, go check out JVology. So that's upstream partners. Now, here's the deal, gang. There is a handout there, and I want you to go through this when you see it. As we're going through this, just go back to the screen here. You will see that there is a JV Top 20 worksheet, and it is a fill-inable PDF. Okay, so it's a fill-inable PDF. So as we're going through this and as we're talking about it, what I'd love for you to do is just begin to brainstorm. So who else might be a fantastic upstream partner? So here's another one for us. INF, Infusionsoft. So Infusionsoft and I have done a bunch of deals together. Well, I've been on their stage, they've been on my stage. We have sent emails for one another. I've been a trusted advisor of theirs for years, all of those pieces. So Infusionsoft is, frankly, in this case, in both of these, I will also put them over here, because we drive traffic both ways. Okay, so make sure, grab this form while we're going through this, while I'm giving you examples, you just start working on it for yourself, because this is the thing that makes the difference. And by the way, the more specific, the better. So if you know the exact company, if you know the person that you talk to there, which in this case would be Darren Adams, you'd put Darren Adams' name in. I'll just do it so you can see. And then you know what you're going to be doing for follow-up. Okay, let's get back to talking about downstream, because the downstream component of this is one of the, to me, just, it's free money, for goodness sakes. And I don't know if any of you like free money, but free money is good. And I'm being a little bit facetious when I say it's free money, because the truth is, you don't have to deliver the product, service, or experience. You are rewarded for the connection and for the purchase. Okay, so let's be clear about this. You're doing something, but here's the truth of it. You don't have any costs really for that introduction. Okay, so you don't have variable costs, you don't have fixed costs, you don't have delivery costs, you don't have staffing costs, you don't have any of those costs. All of the money that comes to you from your downstream partners, it goes directly to the bottom line. It is pure profit. And let's be clear about this. Who wouldn't like a little bit more profit in their business? Because sales are one thing, and kind of interesting in the digital marketing world, people are always talking about top line. Well, we did $17 million on, I was like, yeah, how much did you actually make? I made 17 million bucks, I can tell you that. So anything that actually puts profit to your bottom line is an exceptionally powerful process. So let's get back to screen sharing, and I will give you some examples for us. And of course, as we're going through this, what I want you to do is I want you to fill out the little worksheet that applies to you. So here's the deal. For us, when we teach people what joint ventures are, a couple of things happen. First and foremost, there's opportunity overwhelm. It's like, oh my goodness, I never thought of this. Oh my goodness, how am I going to handle leads? Oh my goodness, all of those pieces. So I'm going to give you a couple of different examples. But here's at the very beginning of this that I want you to really sort of wrap your head and heart around, is that once people get this, and it's like, well, great, then what I need is a little bit of technology, an Infusionsoft or something like that. And then they need somebody to actually execute that, because buying the software and using the software well are two different things. So what I do is this, is I always refer them to my dear friends, Brad and Michelle. They have a agency that handles Infusionsoft beginning, middle to end for small, medium, and large size businesses. They see it all, they do it all. And I simply say to folks, look, if you're going to do this, I don't want you getting lost in pressing buttons. What I want you busy doing is building relationships, because that's what makes the money. So you go hire Brad and Michelle. They will build this stuff out. They will supply all the links. They will make the connections. You can count on them to do it. Ta-da, simple, clean, and easy. And when Brad and Michelle convert those folks into paying customers, they reward me. Simple, clean, and easy. Now, here's the next one. Captain Lou, he runs something called the Marketer's Cruise. Now, I'm going to go in a little sidebar for a brief moment, and actually I'll turn this off for a brief moment, is that it takes a little bit of effort to set up your business to actually utilize joint ventures and to capitalize on joint ventures in meaningful manners. It's one of the reasons why, for me, it's always, you know what, go and hire somebody to do this for you. Do not get stuck in the technology. The technology is, for most people, quicksand. But once it's done, it's absolutely crazy to only be a part of one joint venture community. And I want to be very clear about this. It's like, I would love for you to come and join JVology. Each of you should come and participate in JVology Live. Each of you should take the joint venture success system, and you should get your business operating like this. You really should. And I believe we do the best job in the universe of building real long-term relationships that actually make money. Okay. Now, if you do that though, and your business is now set up to do joint ventures, should you only be a part of one community? And the answer to that question is hell no. That's actually quite ridiculous. So we, as a joint venture community, always refer our clients, our tribe, our community to other joint venture communities. So here's a great example. Let me just pop this up again. So Captain Lou of the Marketer's Cruise. And what's fascinating about the Marketer's Cruise is that I have been going on it virtually every single year. I speak at it every single year. We collaborate in a win-win-win joint venture when, please hear this, it could be deemed as competitive, but it is not, because our grounding is perfectly clear. You did all the work to set this up. You should be in as many joint venture communities as you can show up in and participate in. So we send people to the Marketer's Cruise. Now, here's another great example. Steve Erickson, Event Raptor. One of the starting places for JVs, for many people are things like giveaways. And by the way, if you have a little course, if you do a little mini version of that course for giveaways, or a summary of the course for giveaways, or a core concept of the course for giveaways, that is a brilliant way to build traffic. So giveaways is a great tool. Summits are a great tool. Whatever the topic of your particular course is, bring together 3, 5, 10, 50 people who have opinions about this, who, if you're thinking this all the way through, who would be some of your ideal upstream partners and some of your ideal downstream partners, and you bring those folks together. You do a summit that builds your list and drives traffic to your course. Now, here's the deal. My dear friend, Steve Erickson, has built a software platform that's called Event Raptor that handles summits, giveaways, online events in a spectacular way. So when folks come to us and they get their JV, sea legs, so to speak, and it's like, I'm ready to do my first giveaway, my first summit, I always say, go talk to Steve. Steve will he'll save you hundreds of hours in the process. So that's a great example. And then my dear friend, Mark Stern. Mark Stern runs something called Custom Box Agency. And particularly in today's world of COVID and craziness and all those sorts of things, we're doing our best to have virtual events still have an experience. So it's not just looking at Zoom one more time. And let me just close this for a brief moment. And what we want is for people to have as great an experience as possible. So we put together boxes that have a t-shirt, that have a wine glass, that have a couple of little goodies, that have some fun, that have a little game, that have the workbook, that have all of these little, not just swag, but elements that make the experience more powerful. And for me, anytime somebody is really growing in their business, is like, wait a second, I'm actually going to now up level. Every time somebody joins my course, every time somebody joins my live event, every time somebody joins my premium mastermind, every time somebody joins what I want is for them to have a meaningful experience delivered to their home. There's only one person I recommend, and that is Mark Stern. So he is, again, one of my downstream partners. When I send him leads and they buy something, Mark sends me money. So this is the upstream downstream model. And what I want you to be perfectly clear about is that when you get this right, again, it is a 10x on your business, meaning it will add a 0 to your bottom line. I seriously mean this. So if last year you made $10,000, this year you could make 100. If last year you made 100, this year you could make $1 million. And that is the reality of creating a business that has a steady stream of perfectly qualified leads at the front end and a recurring, steady passive income at the back end, so that you get to, please hear this, enjoy entrepreneurship and live our motto, which is JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. Okay. I trust that all makes sense. I want you to be brainstorming. And by the way, the more specific you can put on your list of upstream and downstream partners, the better it is. Because what we're really after here is for you to, frankly, pick up the phone, reach out to them, build a relationship with them, and do something meaningful with them. Which, by the way, brings me to a form. And this is a little, just to be clear about this, this is a handout from our brand new program called InStream. Now, we just rolled InStream out at our last JVology Live. We ran through our beta test, and quite frankly, the feedback has been spectacular. So powerful that we are actually integrating this throughout our entire year next year. Basically, every 12 weeks, we're running an InStream program. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you a little worksheet. And this worksheet, by the way, also downloadable on the side here. We'll figure out how that all works. But what I want you to do is this. And I started just filling it in because I want you just to see and to understand how this works. So actually, before I do that, I want to just back up for a brief moment. So the upstream downstream model, which I trust you get. Your upstream folks, these are the people that cause, reveal, diagnose the problem that you solve. They send their folks to you for free. When you convert them, you send them money. Okay? Simple, clean, and easy. Just to be clear about this, you are the one sending them your affiliate links, your tracking links, your website, all the rest of it, which they share to their tribe. Those folks come here. You know who you got to pay. You reward them. Beautiful, simple, clean, easy. If that didn't make sense to you, by the way, come to JVology Live. We'll elucidate what that process is. And then on the downstream side, just to be clear about this, this is where you are sharing your downstream partners' links with your tribe. And it's simple, clean, and easy because you know who's who, what's what, how that works, who clicked on what, who bought what, and who owes what. It's simple and easy. So I want to just be clear about this. You provide your upstream partners your affiliate links. You get the affiliate links from your downstream partners. You send money to your upstream partners. You receive money from your downstream partners. That's how that goes. Now, here's the honest goodness truth. Not all JVs work by any stretch of the imagination. And there's a lot of reasons why not all JVs work. But I'll tell you, one of the most significant reasons is this, is that people are not measuring and pursuing the correct things. Okay, they're not measuring and pursuing the correct things. Here's what that means in a nutshell, is that lots of times I hear people say, it's like, the damnedest thing happened. I did a JV, and I did this JV with somebody who had a list of like 35,000 people, and they sent to 35,000 people, and we got basically diddly, like nothing happened out of that, nothing. And I said, yeah, I know that can occur. Now, conversely, when you do the upstream, downstream process correctly, and you are focused on measuring the correct elements, and what we call it is when a partner is perfectly in stream, you could have results like this. So there's two JVology members. They're in the healing, health and wellness. Some might even call it spiritual realm, even a little bit woo. In fact, I think one of them even said, "I'm not just woo, but woo woo." So here's the thing: they did a little joint venture. They are perfectly in stream. They are so aligned in terms of the upstream partner reveals the problem that their downstream partner solves. They reveal it perfectly, beautifully, and stunningly. So they do a little JV that was as simple as a Facebook Live within within the upstream partners group, where she said, "Hey, this is who they are. This is what they do. This is how this works. This is what it is." And please hear this: 12 people on that little Facebook Live went to a live event. At the live event, 8 of those people purchased the premium program in the strong 6 figures of total sales. That's a 75% conversion to a premium offer from only 12 people who bought the live event. That's what the power of somebody being in stream. So you don't want to necessarily look at how big is the list. We need to know, how big is the list? How aligned is the offer? And I'll just give you another example. So I have a dear friend of mine who's in the personal development world, has a whole new personal development program coming out. It's like, "Hey, would you support me in this?" And my answer is yes, I will, 100%. But I want to be very clear about this. And I spent, by the way, 30 years in the personal development world. So I know it inside out. I know a great product. I still have people from years ago who do work with me today. But I want to be clear about this. We have moved away from the personal development space and more into the entrepreneurial space. So when I say yes to him, here's what I know, is that it's a yes because I love him. I love the project. I know he'll do good work for the people that he serves, but we're not exactly in stream. The truth of the matter is that this is a bit of a tangent that I've got to pull. I got to pull some content in. I got to pull some ideas in. I got to figure out how to actually do that well. He will not have a 75% conversion rate at a high ticket offer. That's not going to happen here. We're going to be lucky if we drive 200, 300, 400 opt-ins for him, and we'll see what his sales are. We don't know. But the truth is, while that, I'm still going to do it because I want to serve and support him, but we are not perfectly in stream. So here's the deal. There's a little worksheet, and I'll just share the worksheet, and then I'm going to step you through the worksheet and teach you a couple of key elements for it. And truthfully, if you want to do more with this worksheet and understand how it plays in the big world, then what you got to do is come to JVology Live, come take InStream, and we'll teach you all the details. So this is simply our partner research and tracking sheet. And it's very simple and straightforward. Again, it's fill-inable. Dan Martell, he's a gentleman I actually helped years ago build a mastermind. He is now on my target list for a new, we're building an artificial intelligence platform that is going to automate a bunch of the processes I'm teaching you here. So partner name. Now, this is a big one. Potential lifetime value of the relationship. Now, here's the deal. Many of you know what the lifetime value of your clients are, but most of you don't have a clue what the lifetime value of a great, perfectly in-stream partner is. Remember, 12 purchases to a course, 8 bought premium purchases in the strong 6 figures. That was just from 12 freaking purchases. So the potential lifetime value of this relationship for us, and I think I'm low here, is up to $10 million. So the partner's product, services, and experiences. Well, he's got the SaaS Academy. He's an angel investor. He is a SaaS expert. There's a whole bunch of great things. And then, and by the way, I'm not good. I didn't fill all this out because it's private and personal information for him. His product, services, URLs, his all the URLs for social media and all of those pieces. And then we go to, is he upstream or downstream based upon? So what that means is based upon your understanding of their product, services, and experiences. So in this case, Dan would be quite an ideal upstream partner, and he would be an ideal upstream partner because many of the SaaS companies that he serves are going to be great partners for our JV matching platform. We will actually use our JV matching platform to serve that community. He will be an upstream partner that is going to send us a whole bunch of other, frankly, upstream partners. It's a high leverage relationship. So then you outline what that ideal partnership is, which I just did. And then we go through, this is where we just start tracking who are their JV manager and broker, who is their personal assistant, who's their office manager, who are their launch managers, who's their event manager or organizer. Hobbies. Now, he and I happen to share cars. He likes McLarens, I like Porsches, but we both like to drive fast. We went together to a rally racing school a couple of years ago, and absolutely had a blast in that process. I have not figured out what his charities and causes are just yet, but I am working on it. I'm familiar with 3 different masterminds that he participates in, and I'm going to be stepping up in that domain. Any additional info, anything else that's pertinent. So that's just a little bit of the homework you need to do. But here's the part, and this is the thing I want you to really pay attention to. To truly get perfectly in-stream partners, 10 upstream, 10 downstream, takes a little bit of homework, takes a little bit of time, takes some relationship building process. If you are sending cold outreach to most of these folks, you're doing it wrong. I just have to tell you, you're doing it wrong. Don't do that anymore. Please stop that for the love of all things good in the world. So what we have at JVology is a rate the relationship. And this scale, I'm going to go through quite quickly here for you. This scale determines, please hear this, what you should be doing with that partner at any given point in time. So 0 is they don't know who you are. 1 is they know who you are, but it doesn't matter to them. 2, they know who you are and they have a perception or a judgment of what you do and who you are, which by the way, could be working against you or for you. You've had it. Number 3 is you've had a conversation or interaction that you both remember. And this could include an endorsed introduction from a mutual friend or some version thereof. Number 4, we're hitting the land of what we call relationship. And this is where you have gone first in a couple of meaningful ways. Okay, so going first in a couple of meaningful ways, here would be an example in terms of Dan, is that I helped him position a mastermind for his early SaaS work. So we've stayed in contact. He has invited me to a couple of founders meetings here in Calgary. Whenever something interesting happens in that world, I've often reached out to him. They just moved to Kelowna, and we're in the process of setting up a little housewarming process for them. So that's what we mean by gone first in a couple of meaningful ways. We don't show up for a partner and say, hey, will you send my crap to your list? That's not how it goes. You build a relationship. Number 5. At this stage of the game, you have their phone number in your phone. Okay, that's a 5. And by the way, just because you get it off of LinkedIn doesn't mean you really have their phone number in their phone. I mean, at this stage of the game, it's generally because they gave it to you. It's like, oh, hey, here's my private cell. I'll just text you so you can get a hold of me. That's what that means. Number 6, you're present to special events, birthdays, special events, book launches, family events, those sorts of things. So if something is happening that's meaningful in their world, you can send a gift, you can give a congratulations, you can leave a book review, you can show up at an event, you can do anything that's going to be meaningful there. 7, now we're getting into the area of intimacy. And this is where you have their number in your phone and your texts and calls are welcome. So you know if you're going to call, they are going to reply. Number 8, you're consciously looking for ways to support and collaborate together. So you're trying to figure out what could work here. 9, you have made money together and you want to do it again. And 10, you have influence, which is they take action because you ask them to. Now, if you are attempting to create JV partnerships and you're a 4 or below, you're pushing your luck. Generally speaking, if you can get to a 4, 5, 6 in that range, you've got enough rapport, you've got enough alignment, you've got enough ways of doing something meaningful and significant for them that you could move the needle for them. And you're in a position where you could reasonably make a request that would not fall upon deaf ears or feel burdensome. So this rate the relationship piece is unbelievably important. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to just share the last part of this, which is in each of the cases, as you're building out your list. So you've got your top 10 upstream, top 10 downstream. Some of those folks you know, some of those folks you have relationships with, some of those folks you're close with, some of those folks you already have intimacy with in terms of the rating scale. But here's what you're going to do, is you are going to go to each of the people on that list and you're going to rate them. Tell the honest God truth about where you are in that relationship. Where are you? And then you're going to set a plan, a short-term plan, a medium-term plan, and a long-term plan. And here's my time frame on this. When we teach, there's a whole bunch of other steps to this, obviously. But the short term is 0 to 6 months. What are you going to do? How are you going to contribute? How are you going to make a difference in their life, in their business, in their charity, in their whatever the case may be? That's the big question. How are you going to do that? And you work that for 6 months. Then 6 months to 18 months. What is it that is going to move that relationship up the scale? How are you going to get to intimacy and influence? Next 6 months to 18 months. And then the long term is 18 months and beyond. And that long term, by the way, at that stage of the game, you should be working on intimacy to influence, so that you are strengthening, bonding, building, contributing, connecting, making a difference in that relationship in meaningful and significant ways, that you then have this entire roster of JV partners that will go to the mat for you. So that, my friends, is what we call the in-stream worksheet. And just to be clear about this, nobody outside of our premium clients who purchased in-stream have ever seen that worksheet before. It is powerful. Use it. And you use the in-stream worksheet for every single partner you have on your upstream and your downstream list. And you're going to create a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term strategy. So on that note, let's just wrap this up and I will get back to this sheet. This worksheet, when you actually dedicate the time, effort, and energy to setting up who the targets are, to understanding that it takes the same amount of time to sell one individual thing to a client as it does to establish a relationship with an upstream partner who could send you clients every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year for decades. The lifetime value of a client in your world, I don't know, might be $2,500. The lifetime value of a good in-stream partner is probably $100,000 at the low end over a span of years. So where do you want to put your emphasis? Where do you want to put your energy? Is it just in selling your clients, or is it in building the strategic relationships that ring the cash register, that build the entrepreneurial support, safety and support network that you really need? So on that note, my friends, please use both of the worksheets. Please get busy going out and building relationships with your upstream partners and your downstream partners. And please, if you want access to another, each JVLG Live usually has about 150. Our community itself is sitting about 1,000. If you want access to a community of 1,000 potential partners, 1,000 people who may well be perfectly in stream for you, given the problem that you solve, come play with us. We will serve you well, and you will discover that JVology really is the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. My name is Jay Fiset. It's been an honor to serve and support you, and I look forward to seeing you, meeting you in person, online, at one of our events, and have a fantastic day.